we're going to talk about hiking, beginners hiking. Are you one of those people who has just started to get outside to escape your house during the pandemic? Are you a new hiker? Well, I've got some folks with me today that are new hikers too. And I would love to introduce you to my friends, Steve and Ann Teagat from Postcard Jar. Hey guys.
Hi,
Howdy.
Kay.
Hi, Kay. How are you?
Doing well. How are you guys doing?
We're doing well.
Doing very well.
Awesome. So you're very new to hiking. And the question that Ann asked me yesterday, a couple days ago, was what exactly is the difference between hiking and walking? So I was like, okay, I like that question.
That's how new we are.
That's how brand new, fresh at this whole thing we are.
You know, I think that you are in the same space with a lot of people, and so let's just talk about why you got started hiking. What's that backstory there?
Well, it goes clear back to March of 2019 when we began a healthy living journey. We began to lose some weight, and over the course of 9 months there, I lost 70 pounds, and Ann lost weight and has gone on to
70 pounds.
70 pounds and has gone on to lose more. But after about 9 months, we began to add some physical activity into our lives as well. And that began as sort of walking on a treadmill. And then with the pandemic, it moved into walking outside. And then with walking outside on the same route, we got kind of bored and wanted to try new things.
Yeah, and I think we sort of noticed some of the benefits of walking outside, hiking, being on trails with uneven surfaces. They added so many other health benefits to us. For instance, they've helped us improve our balance, our flexibility. We noticed that hiking had a few more benefits as well than just walking the same steps on the treadmill that's moving the ground for you.
That's why I like trails instead of just paved trails. Now, Matt and I do walk on paved trails, mostly to get us to rocky trails or wooded trails. But yeah, we start on paved trails, and those are the best way to start. So how many times a week do you try to hike?
Well, I mean, really, we've just tried to incorporate more movement in general into our day. So sometimes it may mean just going out and we walk around our neighborhood. We can easily do about 2 laps around kind of our kind of part of our community where we live. And it's about 2.5 miles. And then at least maybe one day a week, we try and go off and do something in more of a wooded area or a nature trail that I would consider more of an actual hike.
Awesome. Well, I've been following Ann and Steve on Instagram for 2 years now. And all of a sudden I started seeing these prairies and wooded areas and things. So if you don't follow Ann and Steve on Instagram or on postcardjar.com, you should, because they're doing some awesome stories and posts over there on Instagram and showing some great places to hike these days. So one of my favorite posts, I think it might have been on your Facebook page, was you just basically crowdsourced, hey, where is the best place to go hike? And you seem to get some really good answers. And Matt and I love parks and public lands, and that's what we do here. So what did you find out around your general area?
We were directed, or sort of, we had a number of suggestions. To go to Platte River State Park, which is about an hour from here.
We'd never been, so that was our curiosity was piqued.
Yeah, and so we're exploring and trying something new. Experimentation has been a big part of our journey as well, and trying something new, because if you try it and you don't like it, you don't have to do it anymore. You can quit. But anyway, we went up to Platte River State Park and we had a fun time. However, being beginners, we found ourselves a little bit unprepared.
No, a little bit. We were totally unprepared. So one of the problems was that where we live in southeast Nebraska, we had some snow, but it had all melted.
Gone.
We had no snow on the ground. And so we assumed it would be the same just an hour north of here. And we were wrong.
Very
wrong. So we took tennis shoes, and in fact, not even,
because we were going to a state park with trails. They'd be nice trails and it'd be easy. And
yeah, and we didn't even take our new tennis shoes because we thought it might be muddy, or there'd be a little bit of dampness on the ground. So we took our old tennis shoes that had no traction. And within the first 20 feet of the trail that we chose, we were sliding all over the place.
That's funny.
And I don't know why we didn't bring boots or
which we own.
Yak track.
Which we also own.
Sure.
Or coats.
Which we own.
Coats.
But
it was supposed to be 55 here in Crete, and it was 45 there, and more of a winter.
But we did pack a good lunch.
Well, good.
Priorities. And while we were there, it's a large state park, and so we did go walking on some of the roads there, and there was a tall observation tower which we climbed. So we still had a good time. We made it a good day of it. But
yeah, I showed Matt your story on Instagram that day, and he was like, "All right, you need to tell them to get trekking poles, because had you had trekking poles, they would have helped with your stability on the trail, and you probably would have gotten
people with those. And even there was one couple that each of them just had one, which would have even helped us.
Yeah.
So do you have a recommendation for?
Do you use two, or do you use one, or what do you guys do?
Great questions. So Matt carries trekking poles. I carry a camera, because I can't do both. But so Matt has trekking poles because he has not so great knees. And he found when he first started that he liked having two. And you also get that cross training. So you get the upper body too. And working. And it takes a little bit to get used to. But, you just do right hand with left leg, left hand with right leg. And so
you kind of put it down every step, and there you go.
Ding, just like one of those.
So one of our dilemmas as we've started hiking and looking at like gear, like what are the things that we need? What kind of a backpack should we take?
Gotcha.
We have like our Land's End backpack.
It's heavy.
We don't want to take that, or what water bottle, or what trekking poles.
Right.
And for newbies like us, there are so many options in all of this.
So many.
Steer us in the right direction, please.
Yeah, steer us in the right direction of trekking poles, at least.
Trekking poles, Matt says that you need to get some that clamp down instead of the ones that twist together, because they will shorten, like they will break down on you faster. So when you're looking at trekking poles, he likes those. Pick ones that fit your hands well. His are too big for my little hands. He likes the cork tops to them, so that he can, because it takes down on the shock a little bit. The cork does. You also want ones that have tips on the bottom for, like, if you want to walk on like pavement or whatever, you can just use the rubber tips. And then when he takes the tips off, he has graphite on there. So that would be our walking poles recommendation.
Okay. Awesome.
So that'll stick into the ground a little bit better. Or you can stick into ice, or if you have a water crossing, you can put that down, and
a water crossing. We're not there yet, Kay.
Yeah.
No, we have done water crossings. We crossed water on the Prairie Earth Trail. It was about that much water, but we crossed it, and so there we are.
So now
we had to put our feet on two little rocks.
That was a water crossing.
Yeah, honestly, here in the Midwest, in the Nebraska, Kansas, Oklahoma area, it's been really interesting that we found these, and they just kind of call themselves prairie trails. And that's something we'd never really heard of until we just did a simple search for trails in our area. And we found the Spring Creek Audubon Prairie, and it's only about 15 minutes from our home. And it was a trail that was basically, it was kind of a mowed area through a natural Nebraska prairie. And it was really beautiful. We were able to see the tall grasses and the wetlands and go up some hills, beautiful views of the horizon and the sunrise or sunset. And that's something that was just different for us. We've been to, state parks with lots of trees and hills and that sort of thing. but the prairie has an incredible beauty, and it's really a wonderful place for beginners like us to start hiking, because it's not as maybe hilly or treacherous as some other trails.
The other thing I really liked about that trail, and then the ones we've done since, are just sort of the educational aspect of it. You know, we've learned a lot about the ecology of the areas that we're hiking. You know, we read about that a little bit, and then you go and you actually see it, and you can see, you know, on the Prairie Earth Trail, we saw where the buffaloes would wallow in the ground. Sure. And the indentations that they caused over the
and the history
centuries.
The history of the Native Americans as well in those areas has been really a great learning opportunity for us.
And summer shows up or spring shows up, you'll want to spray your clothes with Permethrin.
The snakes
go, not snakes.
For insects.
Chiggers and ticks. If you're going to go hiking through prairie.
Put that down.
What is it called?
She has
Permethrin. I will send you a link
for
Permethrin. And yes, we treat our clothes, our boots, our socks, our hats because ticks live in the trees, chiggers live in the grass. And for backpacks, if you're going on a 2-mile day hike, what things do you need? You might need water and lunch or a snack. Matt and I carry like oatmeal bars, or he has power bars that he likes to eat. They're too many calories for me, but he likes them. So we stick those in our backpacks if we're just going out for a whatever, you know, just for a quick hike. If we're going to go out for 7 or 8 miles, then we might plan to have peanut butter and jelly sandwiches and some fruit or something that's not going to get smushed. But you don't need a big backpack. You just need something that's going to fit well. So make sure that you're getting fitted. A inexpensive place to look for backpacks right now is Teton Sports. And we've worked with them for the last year. And they're a wonderful company out of Utah, and their customer service is amazing, and they'll help you fit your backpack to you. You talked a little bit about the benefits of hiking. What does it provide for you?
It's an escape for me. I mean, this year we spent a lot of time at home. You know, it's just between the pandemic and a presidential election and, you know, riots in the summer. It's just, there's just been an abundance of news. And I come from a news background. I have a journalism degree, so I'm kind of a news junkie. And for me, being outside and hiking is just an escape from all of it. It's just an escape. I find myself wanting to check in on my phone a lot during the day when I'm home or we're working on a blog post and things. When I'm hiking, I don't have that desire. So for me, it's a nice escape.
And for me, I've always enjoyed, you know, we started out as a travel blog, and we haven't been able to do that much this year. And so for me, I guess hiking, especially in a new place, it helps me to scratch that itch to explore something new and go someplace new and see new things. And it's been a good way to do that and be socially distant from other people. So we can drive an hour in our own car, we can go to a state park, we can hike down a trail where there isn't anybody else, and we can, you know, do that pretty safely and without worrying about contributing to the spread of a pandemic or anything. And so I think that's a good thing.
Yeah, that's a big concern to us. Our daughter's an ICU nurse, so it's our number one priority right now to just do our part to keep everybody healthy. Yeah, so everything's been good for us. Yeah. And then I think we've also seen a lot of health benefits to it. You know, we have really tried on our healthy living journey. And like Steve mentioned earlier, I think we've lost
combined 190 pounds.
190 pounds in less than, you know, the last 2 years. It's been slow. You know, I lose about 1.2 pounds a week, but I've done it for almost 2 years now.
That's amazing.
And, but a big part of that has just been incorporating movement. And so sometimes that means just getting outside and walking in our yard, or down the road, or just doing a trail. Even in our neighborhood, there are some nice trails. One interesting place that we found this summer, as we were just getting bored walking our neighborhood, was our local university. They have a beautiful, hilly, tree-filled, trail-filled campus.
With water, and it's truly a beautiful place.
Yeah. And so that was a new place that we just, I've lived here most of my life, and just to explore our university campus, especially when the students aren't here, has been really nice. So, we've seen a lot of health benefits. I think mentally during the pandemic, it's hard mentally, emotionally, as well as physically, to just be in the house all day. And so getting outside and taking a hike has also done a lot for us, for our mental health. But I mean, we've seen the lilacs come, go, and we're kind of coming up on it'll be a year, March 12th for us. So
I remember one of our first walks in our neighborhood, we saw the beginnings of the daffodils coming up, and so we watched the whole cycle of the whole year.
We've noticed how, the seedlings come, and the pine cones, and how it grows, and what it does, through 4 seasons now. And that's been really interesting and really fun. And we wouldn't have done that had we not gone outside and walked.
Awesome. So I guess you've kind of answered this already, but what would you say to encourage others that are trying to improve their health to start hiking?
I think that it would just, as we were saying, I think you'll find that when you explore, you see something new. I would encourage just movement in general, even if it's small. I think, if we were to go back and trace the beginnings of our walking, it was literally from our cul-de-sac to the next one over and back. And then as we got more comfortable, and had done it a little more, got a little stronger, we could go further. And as you get into it, you sort of want to keep doing more and want to keep exploring.
Yeah, I think just having an attitude of experimentation. I know for me, I've never been an exerciser my entire life.
In fact, her mom just found her PE report card from elementary school.
Yeah, my mom found my report card, and I actually had a 63 in PE, and it said Anne could do better. So I have never exercised my entire life. And when I started my healthy living journey, I weighed 303 pounds, and just walking to the mailbox was difficult. And so I get that. I empathize with people who just physically have a lot of health issues, or are obese, like I was, and can't do that. And so I think my advice to those folks is just experiment, try something. We started out just stopping at a park and just maybe going a quarter of a mile and back to the car and back home. And that's okay.
So thank you for sharing all of that with all of us. Is there anything else that you'd like to share before we let you go today?
I would just sort of echo what Anne said. I would say get out and experiment, give it a try. When you're out, you don't have to go fast. It's not a race. Look around, look at the plants, if you're just in your neighborhood, look at people's gardens and see how they planted theirs. Maybe you'll find a plant you like for yours, see what there is. Watch how the trees change from day to day. And as you go a few days in a row or a couple of weeks in a row, it's amazing how things change slowly. Take a couple pictures and enjoy it.
Yeah, I think also it's really important, especially right now as we're trying to just slow the spread of coronavirus, to explore places close to your home. One of our favorite hikes that we did all year was 15 miles from our house, and we didn't even know this trail was there. So I think just, get on your phone, get on a trail app, or just Google. Ask your Facebook friends for advice on what's around your area, or maybe within a 60-mile radius, and explore places close to home. I think between the university and that prairie trail and some other state parks near where we live, we've been able to find incredible trails and just really interesting sites that we sort of didn't even know were in our own backyard. So that's my advice. Explore local.
Awesome.
Yeah. And then I think my last word of advice is something that we learned at the Mayo Clinic, where I'm treated for a number of chronic illnesses that I have. And as we started our healthy living journey, we were told to just keep this one thing in mind. Don't sit when you can stand, and don't stand when you can move. So any opportunity that you have to just stand instead of sit, or move instead of stand, is going to help your healthy living journey.
I love that. I love that. Thank you so much for being here today. And moreover, thank you for being my friends. And
Well, thank you.
Well, I love having you on, and I love following along on Instagram. Even when we can't be together every day, I feel like I get to be a little part of your journey. So
you are a big part of our journey. So yeah, we'd love to invite you over. You can follow us at Postcard Jar on Instagram and Facebook and Pinterest and all the social media.
Yes, awesome. And I will put links to all of those in the description below. Thank you for sharing your hiking journey with us, and I'd love to see you out on the trails.
All right. Thanks, Kay.
Thank you.
All right, guys. Thank you for meeting with Anne and Steve from Postcard Jar, and go over and visit their Instagram page and their Facebook page and their blog. They have wonderful advice, and their journeys on health and just traveling and just being alive are just so much fun to follow along with. So thank you all for joining me. Till next time, you are not replaceable. We'll see you soon.